Still on the Big Bulletin, in other news.
In other news, President Akufo-Addo has assured stakeholders in the mental health sector that the government is committed to making that aspect of the health service a priority. In a speech ahead of the official commissioning of a new complex of the Department of Psychiatry of the University of Ghana Medical School at Korle Bu, named The Melody, the president said his administration is on course with the provision of needed infrastructure to support mental health care services.
The contribution of mental health care to our GDP is estimated at 3%. Simply put, for every 100 Ghana cedis produced in Ghana, 3 cedis is attributed to the mental health care sector, which suggests that the sector plays a significant role in the overall economic output of the country. Indeed, aware of research conducted by Professor Angelo Foriata from the department in collaboration with the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISA, of the University of Ghana and Yale University, that in Ghana, some 7% of GDP is lost annually by ordinary Ghanaians reporting a lack of wellness.
You heard President Akufo-Addo. The immediate past head of the psychiatric department of the University of Ghana, Professor Angela Foriata, who is credited with mobilizing funds for the construction of the ultra-modern office complex, in a brief address noted that she is delighted to witness the completion of the building project, which was conceived some 20 years ago.
We have been needing a modern building for the Department of Psychiatry for decades. We started life in the Accra Psychiatric Hospital in the early 60s and were moved into Korle Bu campus in 2003. That was very exciting for us. There were 2 psychiatrists and 2 clinical psychologists. This move to Korle Bu came with the addition of the Addictive Diseases Unit to the Department of Psychiatry, which we renovated in 2019 with the help of private sector.
You heard the immediate past head of the Psychiatry Department of the University of Ghana, Professor Angela Foriata. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapor, has condemned the invasion of AngloGold Ashanti Obuasi mineshaft by illegal miners. The illegal miners used an approved route into the mining shaft and search for gold, which later resulted in many being arrested by the police. This led to a clash between security agencies and some youth in the area. The situation has since raised security concerns about the survival of legitimate mining firms whose operations are being threatened by illegal miners. Speaking to journalists after leading a delegation on a fact-finding mission to the Obuasi township, the lands minister said his outfit is determined to ensure that mining companies work without interference from illegal miners.
We're working, as you know, to get our national economy back on track and back on the path of growth, sustainable growth. That is one of the main surest means of generating employment for the teeming youth of our country. Yes, the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program is also rolled out a couple of programs to be able to provide alternative source of livelihood and employment for the youth of our country. There are specific interventions AngloGold itself is done, including recruiting its staff, some of its staff from the Obuasi catchment area, as well as the issue I raised, I mentioned about community mining, which we are going to work to roll out. And then government's own specific efforts in providing employment for the youth of our country.
That was the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapor. Electrochem Ghana Limited has debunked claims that it assaulted some residents in Adam, where the company undertakes its salt mining activities. The Adan Songo Lagoon Association, a group of residents in the Adan area, had lodged a criminal complaint against the company, claiming that some residents had been manhandled and subjected to cutlass wounds by security forces and individuals believed to be working with the firm. The association claims that they have been facing problems because of their resistance to the company's salt mining activities on lands they insist belong to the indigenes. We will hear from the Sustainability Programs Officer of Electrochem shortly, but first here is a chief of Toflopo, a suburb of Adan, Nene Mailo Dadedwom Enim.
Who permit them to bring those things there, because we are not aware of anything. So upon that questions, the police, they ordered their colleagues to start shooting. So it was a rubber bullet that hit my stepfather in the chest, right in the chest, some at the forehead. The old man writing the statement over there, the bullet hit him at the forehead. While I was handcuffed on the one of my right hand, on my right hand, one of my hand, and dragged on the ground.
Chief of Toflopo, a suburb of Adan, Nene Mailo Dadedwom Enim. Now let's hear from the Sustainability Programs Officer of Electrochem, Yvonne Amankwa, who says the company is a socially responsible company and would not engage in such illegal activities as being claimed.
We have not manhandled anybody from the community because the company operates with global and national standards, and these do not allow us to engage in such acts. And so there have been isolated cases involving some communities interfering with the work of the Ghana Police Service, and that may have resulted in certain things, but it doesn't have any direct link with Electrochem Ghana Limited, and it doesn't have any link with any of the staff members around the company or the project. And so we are stating on record that we have not manhandled anybody. In fact, it is our staff who have rather suffered series of threats and abuse from some of the communities. And it all forms part of the basis for our series of engagement with all the stakeholders and the various communities.
You heard the Sustainability Programs Officer for Electrochem Ghana Limited, Yvonne Amankwa. Meanwhile, the Adan Traditional Council has appealed to the government to clamp down on the activities of illegal salt miners to protect the Adan Songo Salt Project. Nene Abram Kabu Akaku III, paramount chief of the Adan traditional area, made the appeal during a call on President Nana Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House. Manklalo of the Adan Traditional Council, Nene Agude Obichre III, spoke on behalf of the paramount chief.
Every good thing has challenges, and Adan is not an exception. But it calls to us to be resolute to make sure these challenges are solved.
You heard the Manklalo of the Adan Traditional Council, Nene Agude Obichre III, ending the other stories from the Assassin News Desk with me, Philip Abutiate.